Hey everybody, this is Perch, and here's a video I've been kind of excited to review for a while, and I haven't just sat down to do it. So here we go. This is a review of a comic that I stumbled across. It's crazy, but this is basically Jason Youngblood's Weapon Brown. And this is a parody comic, but it's not like a lot of parody comics where they just kind of give up on telling any kind of story and they just go for the cheap kind of visual gags, although this comic does have plenty of these. But from the cover, you look to yourself and you're like, I recognize that yellow shirt and that zigzaggy black pattern. And then you realize, yes, this is a dystopian future for Charlie Brown. That's exactly what this comic is. So let's get into it. Basically, so a little bit of background here. This is written and drawn by Jason Youngblood. It's got, some inks that come in for a couple of the pages. But Jason Youngblood has a number of comics going out. Interesting guy. Does a lot of very creative things. And it shows here. So basically the backstory is that, here's basically Charlie Brown. He's trying to get a kite going and failing. And he's just filled with ultra rage. This is a Charlie Brown who's clearly been through the ringer a little bit. And suddenly there's nukes going off on the horizon. He gets caught in kind of the radiation, and he says, oblivion. And this is the world's gone terribly. And he wasn't even able to die, basically. So it starts out dark, and it's not going to really come up from there. So this comic is basically set in this, as I said, dystopian wasteland future of a man and his dog. In this case, this is Snoopy, and it's Charlie Brown who's gone through the this Weapon Brown program where basically he has been outfitted with cybernetic parts. He's was an assassin or something not good for the syndicate, and he's going around on this path of revenge. So right out the gate. If you're a fan of Charlie Brown, or maybe fan is maybe the wrong word. If you just ever read Charlie Brown or had to suffer through one of those Thanksgiving movies or Halloween movies, and that's why it's a good video for today for Halloween. This is basically kind of I would say it's a love letter to those characters and those stories, but love letter is being far too kind to what's going on here. So basically, the summary is that Charlie Brown's trying to gain some revenge on the world that has kind of hit him. He comes across Schroeder and basically somewhat tortures him to get what he needs. He's trying to get information on Lucy, and basically beats the crap out of old Schroeder. And, trying to get information. It gets sent to a whorehouse. So we get a lot of good narration in this book as Charlie Brown and Snoopy are riding around in this Mad Max kind of car. The art and the inks change from time to time. I mean, it doesn't stay entirely consistent as to what's going on, but it's serviceable. I mean, what's funny about this is that, the art, in many cases, the backgrounds, the details, the changing perspectives, they do a lot with this. That is a lot more detailed in some cases than what you get out of the big two. So good for you, Jason. But anyway, Charlie Brown eventually gets to a whorehouse where, and this is in my mind, one of the funnier sequences in the book. Just in how wrong it is. So he goes in and he starts out with Charlie Brown saying, "Stay put, mutt. Only men get to ride these bitches." And Snoopy's unhappy. Charlie Brown goes in. There's this very familiar looking, it's in black and white, but you can picture a redhead with freckles saying, "What's your pleasure tonight?" And Charlie Brown just bitch slaps her. And, just as he's about to be attacked by the bouncer, she comes up and says, "I'd recognize that smack anywhere," which is just so wrong. And then comes in and, gives him a big kiss. And the narration, "Patty, my Patty, she always tastes the same, peppermint." And again, if you've read the Charlie Brown stuff, it's so incredibly wrong. But anyway, the story progresses. We get a couple things. Peppermint Patty brings in her partner from the comic. They put on a little sex show for Charlie Brown, who just stares at it, looking very unhappy. But he's saving his attentions at the moment for the redheaded girl that it's more niche in Charlie Brown, but the girl that he was always into. So we learned a little bit about his backstory, basically how Lucy had taken him and tortured him and like taken off his arm and implanted all these cybernetic implants and basically somewhat brainwashed him so he would work for the syndicate. And this is all about, the revenge he's going to have. So he heads out to go continue his path of destruction, runs across a couple of the other Charlie Brown characters from the past, breaks into Lucy's lab, and the big gunfight ensues between the two, where we get a lot of kind of stuff here. And again, the art changes from time to time. We get stuff that looks a lot very 90s style, and then we get some stuff that's a little bit more, I would say, dramatic. There's a variety of styles that kind of come into this thing, but again, a lot of detail, a lot of background, a lot of stuff, and the comic keeps wandering back and forth between being a straight up parody of just Charlie Brown, the characters, and kind of going through seeing the key characters and key moments, and then also this kind of very, very angry, very rage-fueled revenge apocalypse story. So we even get the recreation ultimately of Charlie Brown, a classic swipe the football away, pull the football away scene with Lucy, and he's going to do it again, but instead this time, rather than going for the football, Charlie Brown just kicks her right in the face. And then says, I've got a nice game we can play, a new game we can play. It's called Bleed and Scream. And so, he basically, the next scene he comes up and just tosses. There's a little bit where Snoopy had been waiting outside while Charlie Brown been doing all this stuff, and then he lifts his head up and he's devouring this bird that is clearly Woodstock. And then Charlie Brown's like, forget about that bird. I've got something juicier for it. And it's Lucy's tongue. So, anyway, he goes, Snoopy enjoys the tongue so much, I feel a little jealous. But then he didn't get to hear Lucy beg for her life with a tongueless mouth. That pleasure was all mine. She gave it up, though, between screams. Lucy didn't know where Linus was, but she had a pretty good idea. I'm heading for the pumpkin patch. And so there's a mix of just stuff that's absurd here for sure. But kind of in the same way that the Scooby-Doo Apocalypse story was kind of that over the top, different kind of parody. That's a little bit what this is as well. So we get, we learn about the pumpkin patch and where some of the zinger bombs went off, and we get a mutated tree, which is another callback to the kite-eating tree that was a bit and a gag in the Charlie Brown comics. But they take care of that. It's got acid. Anyway, so they go down. He goes down to finally face Linus, and Linus has basically kidnapped the redheaded girl, and he's about to sacrifice the girl to this kind of the great pumpkin, the great rapture monster. And we get again the art changing from time to time. Bugs. Linus has a cybernetic little symbiote type blanket that kind of attacks, and unfortunately that gets the better of Charlie Brown. So he's kidnapped, and we learn that Linus is kind of mutated beyond all belief. There you get another funny line here, in that he's like, I'm about to sacrifice your virgin lover, the redheaded girl. And Charlie Brown goes, virgin? You're out of your skull, Linus. I took care of that 2 hours after I met her. And it's hard to reconcile this stuff back with Charlie Brown. But just as things seem at their worst, we learn that Sally, Charlie Brown's sister, has been working with Linus, and that they're bringing this demon from hell back to the planet. And it comes up and it attacks everyone. Of course, it all goes down, and Charlie Brown has to kind of shoot his way out of it. Unfortunately, in doing so, this monster that he kills winds up destroying Linus, Sally, and his redheaded girl. So he loses his love, and he's left to wander the earth. And so the comic ends with basically this, a metaphorical cloud raining on Charlie Brown as he realizes, I did my. This is the kind of the conclusion line. So I turned my back on it all. Linus, my treacherous sister, the thing from the pit, her. Turning your back is the first lesson they teach you in this life. It's a hard world, too hard to let a dream go wandering off by itself because you weren't paying attention to it. But if you do forget about it fast, you won't want to see what's left of your dream after the nightmares have taken their turns on it. It's a lesson I'd forgotten until now, but one I could still obey. Already I could feel my memories of the girl turning to dust, hitting the wind, leaving me forever. It's what has to be done. They'd only slow me down, and a killer has to be fast. Did my time with her ever letting me become more than what they created in the labs all those years ago? I don't know. All I know is that what I am today, and if you ask anyone who crosses me and lives, they'll be able to tell you the same. I'm just a round-headed son of a bitch, a boy named Weapon Brown. Anyway, it's over the top. There's a backup story around that's kind of a Christmas story, but it's funny in its own way. But definitely the main story, it's worth looking up if you want to see something that's just clearly batshit crazy, and a parody comic that still manages to roll some other things out there. It's some good stuff. Definitely, Jason Youngbluth has a number of different comics out there. Various parodies of different things. You have Deep Fried is kind of his, the books that he has put out there. Anyway, they're fun little comics. They're crazy stuff. The Salt Lake City Avengers, Black Vulcan versus the Justice League. Lots of good, crazy, tasteless stuff. But it's lots of people trying to do parody stuff right now, and this comic delivers in its own batshit crazy way. So, happy Halloween, everyone, and thanks for listening.